Just when we thought the stories couldn't get more shocking, two more men have bravely come forward, alleging that Michael Tate S.'d them while he was still a member of DC Talk. This isn't just about the Newsboys era anymore. These claims push the timeline of his alleged indiscretions back decades into the very formative years of Christian contemporary music. These two men, Randall Crawford, a talented Christian songwriter, and Jason Jones, the founding manager of the globally successful band Evanescence, have shared their harrowing accounts with both The Guardian and The Roy's Report. And what they describe is nothing short of devastating. Both Crawford and Jones vividly describe how these alleged assaults wreaked absolute havoc on their personal lives and careers. While Tate's star continued to rise, reaching stratospheric heights with DC Talk and then the Newsboys, their professional paths spiraled downwards. Imagine being at the peak of your career, Grammy-nominated, winning awards, signed to a major label, and feeling like you can't enjoy any of it because you're burying a deep, painful secret. That's what Randall Crawford describes. He'd known Tate since 1989, calling him a brother. The betrayal must feel unimaginable. In this video, we're covering their stories that continue to send shockwaves through the Christian music community. And honestly, it just keeps getting worse. For those just catching up, Michael Tate has been one of the biggest names in Christian rock for over 3 decades. He helped define contemporary Christian music with DC Talk in the 90s, then became the face of Newsboys. This is a man who preached purity, sobriety, and Christian values to millions of fans worldwide. But in recent months, a very different picture has emerged. We now have 8 men who have publicly accused Tate of SA. This latest report brings the total number of alleged victims into truly disturbing territory. Let's talk about Jason Jones first, because his story is particularly heartbreaking, not just for what allegedly happened to him, but for how it derailed what could have been an incredible career. Jones was described as a happy-go-lucky Christian teenager with big dreams in the music industry. In 1994, he achieved one of those dreams by meeting his idol, Michael Tate. Jones became part of Tate's inner circle, and this is where things get troubling. According to Jones, Tate was living a double life, publicly preaching Christian values while privately engaging in behavior that completely contradicted everything he stood for. Jones describes Tate as having a proclivity for randomly grabbing other men's genitals and maintaining what sources called a no clothes allowed rule in his hot tub. But here's where it gets even more sinister. In late 1998, Jones says he was at Tate's house after DC Talk rehearsals. He felt suddenly tired, unusually so, and Tate suggested he sleep in his bedroom. Jones woke up multiple times to find Tate performing oral sex on him. Each time, Jones says he said no and pushed him away, only to lose consciousness again. "I believe that Michael Tate drugged me," Jones stated. And he's not alone in that belief. What's absolutely chilling is the pattern that's emerging across these allegations. Multiple victims now claim they believe they were drugged before their alleged assaults. This isn't just opportunistic behavior. This suggests premeditation and a systematic approach to victimizing young men. The power dynamic here is crucial to understand. Tate wasn't just famous. He was a gatekeeper in the Christian music industry. For young, aspiring Christian musicians, his approval could make or break careers. Jones himself admits he went along with Tate's behavior because he had the power to open doors for us in the industry. Here's where this story gets even more tragic. Jones was instrumental in getting Evanescence off the ground. He co-produced their first demo and used his connections with Tate to help the band get noticed in Nashville. But after allegedly being assaulted by Tate in 1998, Jones says he told Evanescence co-founder Ben Moody what happened in early 1999. Moody, who was only 18 at the time, admits he didn't fully understand what Jones was going through. But the relationship between Jones and the band deteriorated, and Jones was either fired or quit. Accounts differ. Either way, Jones was cut out of Evanescence just before they became one of the biggest bands in the world. Think about that for a moment. Evanescence went on to win Grammys and sell tens of millions of albums. Jones, who helped launch them, spent the next 5 years in isolation, struggling with meth addiction. According to legal correspondence Jones shared, He could have been entitled to tens of millions in compensation if he hadn't missed the statute of limitations. The second new accuser is Randall Crawford, a musician who was also in Tate's circle during the late 90s and early 2000s. He was already in a vulnerable emotional state, recovering from a breakup with a woman he met through Tate. A few months prior, Crawford had narrowly escaped SA at the hands of a Christian country musician after a late-night songwriting session. He had shared this with Tate, and then Tate invited him over to his house for emotional support. Michael said, "Dude, come over. I'll cure you, buddy," Crawford said. And so I go over to his house. He throws on some Coldplay. We're just talking about old times, old friends. And he said, "Dude, let me get you to drink." According to Crawford, Tate poured him a shot of Maker's Mark. But Crawford had no reason to believe Tate had a malicious intent. He accepted the drink, blacking out almost immediately despite having a high alcohol tolerance, and waking up to find Tate assaulting him. He had my legs up in the air, and I was like, "Whoa, dude, what are you doing?" He's like, "Hey, you think the Colts are going to do anything this year?" Feeling groggy and out of it, Crawford realized he had been drugged. But Tate stopped assaulting him and acted like nothing had happened. He wondered later if he had given Tate the idea to drug him after sharing what had happened with the country singer. While Tate acted as though nothing had happened, Crawford turned in on himself, and he became a follower. He and Tate would fly to different locations and visit gay bars, causing him to wonder if Tate had been attracted to him for years. He would say stuff like, "You're beautiful like a woman, and I wish it wasn't a sin to be gay," Crawford shared. "I was always attracted to women, and I never gave in to Michael. That's probably why he felt like he had to drug me and do something non-consensual," he said. Crawford stayed friends with Tate for years, contributing to his band Tate after DC Talk went on hiatus in 2000. He also experienced phenomenal success in Christian music, penning multiple tracks on TobyMac's debut solo album, Momentum. But ultimately, he lost his love for music. His career petered out, as did his contacts with Tate. However, when Crawford was married after COVID-19, he said Tate rebuilt his connection with the family. He told TRR that Tate even joined them for Christmas dinner last year and spoke to them about his exciting plans with the Newsboys. It was only after seeing Tate again in 2024 that he realized the gravity of what had occurred to him. He told his wife and began EMDR therapy, a therapeutic method used by practitioners in extreme cases of trauma. When stories about Tate allegedly essaying people were published in June, he felt compelled to act. Hearing all the other things in the report about the young woman, Nicole and Fargo, there were no words. "It completely broke me," he told TRR. Like many victims of SA, Crawford kept up a relationship with his abuser. His wife told TRR that Tate was viewed as a family member, but since stories of his abuse have aired publicly, Crawford has been a shell of himself. Crawford wants Michael to repent and take steps to heal and pursue justice. He chose to make this appeal publicly, rather than approach Michael privately because, "I just don't want to be around him right now." What makes this even more disturbing is the institutional protection Tate enjoyed. Crawford recalls Tate being pulled over for speeding at Liberty University, Jerry Falwell's Christian college, where DC Talk formed, and the security guards asking for autographs instead of writing tickets. Afterward, Tate allegedly told Crawford, "I can do anything and not get in trouble." And for decades, that seemed to be true. The Christian music industry, which preaches accountability and moral purity, appears to have turned a blind eye to credible allegations against one of its biggest stars. Let's be clear about what we're looking at here. This appears to be a pattern of predatory behavior enabled by an industry that prioritized profit and image over the safety of young men trying to break into Christian music. Sources describe Tate having a rotation of attractive young men at his Nashville home, some allegedly underage. The level of access and trust this man had with young, vulnerable, aspiring musicians is deeply troubling when viewed through the lens of these allegations. In June, Tate posted on Instagram acknowledging addiction issues and admitting he had, at times, touched men in an unwanted, sensual way. He said he'd spent 6 weeks in treatment. However, compared to the detailed and consistent accounts from 8 different men spanning decades, This feels like damage control rather than genuine accountability. 8 men don't coordinate their stories across decades just to take down a Christian rock star. These accounts are consistent, detailed, and heartbreaking. They describe not just individual assaults, but systematic predatory behavior that destroyed careers and lives. The human cost here is staggering. Jason Jones lost what could have been a multi-million-dollar career with Evanescence and spent years battling addiction. Randall Crawford's music career was cut short before it even began. These are just 2 of the 8 men who have come forward. Imagine how many others might still be suffering in silence. This isn't just about Michael Tate anymore. This is about an entire industry that failed to protect vulnerable young people from a predator in their midst. It's about the cost of putting image and profit over human dignity and safety. For those watching who might be survivors of similar experiences, whether in the music industry or elsewhere, please know that your voice matters. The courage of these 8 men in coming forward may help others find their own strength to speak out. The Christian music industry needs to do better. It needs real accountability mechanisms, not just PR damage control. It needs to create safe spaces for people to report a BUSC without fear of career retaliation. And it needs to stop protecting powerful predators just because they can sell albums. This story is far from over. With 8 accusers now public, it seems likely more victims may come forward. The question is whether the Christian music industry will finally take meaningful action or continue to prioritize image management over justice. What do you think should happen next? Should there be criminal charges? Should the industry implement new safety measures? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more coverage of this developing story. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.